Thank you. Thank you so much. Before we get to the questions you may have, I just want to thank you all again for joining us here today. And there's a lot of great content for you to see on the website. You'll get tons of time to explore it. The website will be open until Tuesday, then we're going to lock it back down, but it'll be open again November 1st onward. So you've got plenty of time to check out our website and enjoy it. As for questions about the application process itself and financial aid, you can always email us about that. There's detailed explanations on our website. We will happily guide you through that process and hold your hand as you need it. Today I'm going to go through now and answer the questions you've put in the chat. So the first one is, what is the impact of COVID-19 on clubs? That's a good one. Obviously there has been an impact, and we haven't started up our co-curricular programs until very recently, and next week they're starting in earnest. We've had to slow our start, but they are going to be meeting online. So for example, I coach the Reach for the Top team, and our meetings are starting next week, and we plan to complete in the season. Other clubs have already also organized how they will meet virtually. Sports, however, is a different matter. Because we compete in a league with other schools, that has still not started up, but we do have certain sports like tennis, ones that are safe to play, where clubs have grown in their place to fill that gap. So there's a tennis club right now that's already started. What is the minimum score of the SSAT? We don't have a cutoff. There's no minimum score you need. We say that 1850 to 1900 is a healthy score for grade 7 applicants for the lower SSAT, and 2100 or 2100 is a healthy score for the upper SSAT. But each year we accept students with a lower score than that, and we don't accept students with a higher score than that. So we're looking for that healthy score, but we're also looking for the entire student in our application process. Does UTS prefer gifted students? Do you have special programs for gifted students? We do not give preference for gifted designated students. It's not something we look at. We have our own admissions process that determines whether a student will be successful at UTS, and UTS is the special program for those students. So yes, we have a very highly rigorous academic program for our gifted students. Whether they're labeled gifted or not, they're gifted. Will kids coming from an immersion program learn specialized French in grade 7 or focus on core French? While we don't offer officially immersion French at UTS, our French program is divided into two streams, core French and special French. And special French is for students who have been in an immersion program, have come from a French school, are fully bilingual in French, and there's a process to determine the placement of the student that happens after they're accepted. There's a process we do with our French teachers, and they place the students as needed. So we have a very enriched French program for those who already speak French. I might be going a little too fast, but what is the students to teacher ratio, and what other staff are available for students to help them meet academic expectations? On average, our class size is about 23 students per teacher, but that's lower in the upper years as students start to choose their electives. It's a little bit higher in the foundation years, and in our F1 or grade 7 class, it's 25 students for one teacher, and it gets lower in the upper years. Now, in terms of extra support, in addition to our guidance counselors that every student has access to, we have student success teachers to help. We've got 2 student success teachers to help support students manage their workload. We also support students with their mental health. We have 2 social workers on staff for students who may need to talk to someone. And I can't ignore our teachers. Our teachers themselves provide tons of extra help as needed. We also have a peer tutoring program. I know the question specifically asked about teachers, but we have a peer tutoring program where older students in older grades are paired with younger students who may need a little bit more help in areas, in whatever area, math, English, history, science, and the tutors help them that way. How about arts education at UTS? That is a great question. We are fundamentally a liberal arts school. We value breadth in what we learn at UTS. And our arts program is phenomenal. Foundation students take music, drama, and visual arts in their first year. And in their upper years, they can then specialize into what they want. The music program has both a strings or a wind option, and plenty of co-curricular bands to join. Symphonic band, choir, strings, chamber strings, junior strings. So there's lots of rich music programming and co-curricular programming. We have a great drama program. Our students every year compete in the NTS Drama Festival, formerly the Sears Drama Festival. We put on an amazing show at school called Show. It's not quite a senior play, not quite a fashion show, not quite a musical, but kind of all those things wrapped into one. And that's completely student run, completely organized and directed by the students, with some support and supervision by staff. Back to music for a second. I forgot about the twig tape. The twig tape started when cassette tapes were a thing, and each year it is an album of original UTS compositions. It's now fully online and digital. And I can't forget about our visual arts program. Our visual arts program is extensive. Students have an opportunity to take it all throughout, and there's a interdisciplinary design course available for students in grade 12, which links various arts courses together. And in terms of extracurricular, there's a whole art show we put on every year in May, and you'll have a snippet of that online today. Definitely check out our expressive arts section of the website. It'll give you a full treatment of what we offer. What sports teams are there? That's a great question. Now this year, as I said earlier, sports are kind of on pause, except for certain safer ones that we can do as clubs. But we have baseball, basketball, soccer, wrestling, volleyball, ultimate frisbee, swimming, tennis, lacrosse, field hockey, badminton, skiing. I should have been doing actions the whole time, probably. I'm sure I'm forgetting some, but if there's one missing, generally a student can, if there's enough support, start a team. So we really have an extensive athletics program here at ETS, and I encourage you to check out the athletics portion of the website, and if you haven't, you can talk to our athletics department. When are students expected to return to the newly renovated building on Bloor Street? Great question. Our original date of return was September of 2021, but COVID has slowed us down a little bit, but we're still scheduled for the fall of 2021. So we should be back in that building, before Christmas of the new year. And we're really looking forward to that move. How tech-enabled is the school? Lessons and devices for each student. We are a fully integrated Google school, where each student is expected to have a device. If a student doesn't have a device to bring to class, the school can loan them one for the year. And so, for example, even before the pandemic, if I were teaching economics or law, it would be a completely paperless course. Now, during the pandemic, we've switched to a complete hybrid setup, much like you're seeing here today. I'm in one of our classrooms. I'm in our art classroom. And we teach to the students in the class who come, and at the same time broadcast at home. So we have a complete hybrid setup where students can attend online or at home. I think that's going to be a question coming up. So if students are virtual or not, and the answer is both. Here, this year at UTS, students and families can opt to attend in person or online. We're cohorting them safely into class sizes of less than 15 people. So on the days they come in, they're only in contact with those 15 people or less. And if they want, they can stay home and learn remotely the entire year. And that's a decision that can be made week to week. You can come in or stay home. That's the question I just answered. Our next question, what if we can't get our most recent report card before December 1st? Okay, that's a good question for our application process. Our application process is officially due, right? Our applications are due on December 1st. But that's our deadline for, let's say, writing the SSAT. The results can come after that. And you just set us up as a recipient for the score, and we'll get them in a few days, even if you write it on December 1st. In terms of report cards that come in December or later, you can upload those to the SAO website, our application website afterwards. You submit the application by December 1st, and then add any of those documents that need to come afterwards, and we will accept them. Will this video be recorded and available online? Yes. Yeah, after this, we will leave this up on the website fully functional, as I said, until Tuesday of next week, and then it will go down again, and then it will be back up, all for the month of November, leading up to our deadline. Can students take courses from U of T for credit? We do, in some special cases, have students who audit courses at U of T, but not for credit. Our relationship, our affiliation with U of T is an amazing one, and students have the opportunity sometimes, if they're truly accelerated in their course, to audit classes at U of T, which is just an amazing part of our affiliation. To what extent do you consider extracurricular and SSAT in your assessment of our applicants? As I said a little bit earlier, the SSAT is just one component. We're looking for a well-rounded student. We're looking for a complete student. That being said, we're not looking in particular for any specific extracurricular activities or a great amount of extra co-curricular activities, but we are looking for a well-rounded student. Are there distinctively different co-curricular programs for lower and higher grades? That's a great question. Yes, there are. The varsity sports team, for example, they are for grade 9 and up, but we do have amazing foundation sports as well, like our basketball team, ultimate frisbee, etc. In terms of other co-curriculars, many clubs, the sort of casual clubs, like the Classic Society, where you can kind of go and do some of their events, or that's open to everyone in the school at any age. And then some clubs are kind of divided into tiers. So we've got the Math Society and the Junior Math Society. That isn't to say that the Math Society doesn't allow junior members to come in, but we have a space particularly for the foundation students in that as well. And that's true of many of our different clubs. How is the curriculum more rigorous than other schools? That's a great question. Because at UTS, we offer more courses right from the get-go. Students are taking 10 courses in grade 7 rather than 8. By the time they're in grade 8, they already start to take high school courses. For example, in grade 8, they will be taking grade 9 math, grade 9 science, and grade 9 Latin. So they're already getting 3 credits there. So that tells us how it's accelerated, but how is it more rigorous, right? Within our programs, we offer enrichment, okay? Now, in the upper years, that enrichment might be a separate stream, like an AP class, taking AP Calculus instead of Ontario Calculus. But in any class, as the teacher sees fit, they add more enrichment based on the level of engagement in the student and how that class is, right? Differentiated instruction. But our math and our science programs are already accelerated and then enriched. Math in particular, we offer 2 streams. We offer an A math and a B math, and that A-B designation is truly just about your passion for math, right? The A stream math is already, 1 year ahead, grade 9 and grade 8, and enriched. And the B stream math is for students who just want more math. Give me more math. And so they'll cover the regular curriculum of the course in about 70% of the time, and then have 30% of the time to take on topics that are not covered in the Ontario curriculum at So that's another example of our rigor and enrichment. Is there a buddy program for grade 9 students who are entering? You may already know that there's a buddy program for our F1 students, our grade 7 students. They're paired with the grade 11 student. Grade 9 students who come in as a full class, and grade 10 and 11, I should say, the handful of students who come in each year in grade 10 and 11, are also paired with a buddy, but a buddy from their own grade. So this summer before the school year starts, an entering grade 9 student is buddied up with someone from the school so they can ask questions, they can hang out over the summer if needed, or virtually as it was the case this year. So yes, we do have a buddy support system for all new students. Could you please elaborate about the diversity of the student body? Does it reflect the diversity of Toronto? What efforts do you make to ensure a diverse student body? Thank you for asking this question. Our student body is diverse in many ways, but not diverse in other ways. And we do not reflect the population of Toronto right now. We're trying really hard to change that. We are looking at ways to have outreach to Black and Indigenous students and families to ensure that our representation of specifically those groups are increased, but also underrepresented groups like the Latinx community, the Arab community. There are certain communities that we want to bring in line with the statistical distribution of Toronto to truly show that we are a Toronto-based school, and work has been being done over the past years in it, and we've really ramped up our efforts this year. We have a director of outreach who's involved. We've are really trying to make those connections. If you out there watching right now are connected with a group from a community that is underrepresented at UTS, reach out to me because we would like to make that connection. Do students tend to have time for other activities outside of school, such as music lessons, etc.? On average, how much homework do kids get daily? Yes. So as I've said, students take more courses than they would at a normal school. We are a commuter school because we're in downtown Toronto, but we reach the GTA, so it really depends on the student. Many of our students still do music, extracurricular music outside of UTS, high-level sports outside of UTS. But that really depends on the student and how many co-curriculars they want to commit to at UTS as well. So there is time, but we suggest, especially for new students, to find their balance, to get into the workflow of UTS and figure out how to continue with their other extracurriculars. Now, in terms of homework, we aim to give foundation students about an hour of homework a night. That goes up to about an hour and a half to 2 hours in the middle years, and 2 to 2.5 hours potentially in the senior years. That's sort of an average spread out. It really depends on, what type of projects are due, and is there a test coming up, and different students prepare in different ways, and different students use their class time in different ways. So they may be more efficient in class, or they may need a little bit of break when there's time to work in class. And so they, use their time at home a little bit more than they might when given the opportunity in class to complete some of their work. What attributes are you looking for in the report cards? We're looking for curious, engaged learners. We're looking for curious, engaged learners. We're looking for kids who have a concept of, whatever that means in grade 6, of society as a whole and how they can contribute to it. We're looking for balanced kids who aren't just focused on one thing, like one extracurricular or one course, but we are looking for, curious, engaged learners with high learning skills, right? Showing independence and curiosity and organization. These are skills we find transfer to success in whatever course they take at UTS. So you really have to love to learn to come here. Are you going to account for the fact that COVID has affected the information reported on the report cards? Yes, we have to. Now, the good news about this pandemic is everybody's affected in much the same way. So we are building that into our application process this year and understanding if a report card is missing, one of the progress reports from the middle of the year, or what have you. And we'll reach out to families if we need more information, but we are taking that into account, obviously. Are students coming into grade 9 who didn't go through an enriched grade 7 and 8 curriculum elsewhere at a significant disadvantage? Are they helped and supported through the transition? I would say that any student who is accepted at grade 9 is prepared and ready for the school. That's part of our application process. That being said, because the students here may be a year ahead in math and science, we do offer a summer bridge program to make sure they're ready to integrate into their grade 10 science and their grade 10 math class. So over the summer, they'll work with a UTS teacher. They obviously have the connection from their UTS buddy to just make sure they're up to speed. And that's how we help and support the transition through the summer bridge program and their peer mentor when they come. They also get a staff mentor. So when grade 9s enter, grade 10s and 11s enter UTS, they're paired up with a teacher who can also, they can email and go to for guidance as needed. Not necessarily a guidance counselor, but just teacher volunteers who want to connect with new students. What is your tip for taking the SSAT? Do multiple SSAT exams count? You're not prohibited from taking multiple SSAT exams. We do look, we do prefer if there's only one exam taken, but that doesn't really affect anything. Our tip for taking the SSAT, we do not recommend doing prep courses. What we do recommend is practicing the SSAT. In many cases, students have never written a test like that. So when you sign up for the SSAT, they give you, I think, the option to get 4 practice test exams. There's a practice diagnostic. Take advantage of that. You don't want to sit down and write a multiple choice test, a 3-hour multiple choice test, which is, maybe would have been very common for a student back in my day in grade 6, but many grade 6 students have never taken a multiple choice test like that, right? So prepare the actual taking of the test in a timed scenario, practice that a few times, and that should help you truly reflect the knowledge you have on the SSAT and not be bogged down by the process of the SSAT. What's the normal school schedule? What time do they start and end school? Back in normal times, school started at 8:45 and ended at 3:50. This year, school starts at 9 and ends at 2:45 because of our hybrid learning classes. Students are in one class each day, and with a few breaks, a 15-minute break in the morning and in the afternoon, and time at lunch to get outside. But yeah, so the day right now is 9 till 2:45. A typical UTS year would be 8:45 to 3:55. Is UTS a good school for kids with learning disabilities or ADHD? Are there accommodations in place? Yes, like any school in Ontario, we accommodate for students. We have two, as I mentioned before, 2 student success teachers who work with students with learning disabilities. So, if they're bright and they love learning, that's what we're looking for. Curious learners. But we do not obviously discriminate against someone based on their learning disabilities. So, include that in the application, their IEPs, so we know, who the student is, but that does not affect their admission, and they are fully supported when they get here. Okay, we've got just one more question. What percentage of applicants in a given year are offered entry? And we're going to wrap this up in a minute, give you guys a break for 15 minutes until the breakout sessions start. The final question, what percentage of applicants in a given year are offered entry? It kind of depends how many apply. We usually get about 400 applicants in stage 1 for our F1s, for our grade 7 program. 200 are invited back to write stage 2 and have the interviews, and about 100, 95 to 100 are accepted in grade 7. So it's a 25% rate. In grade 9, we usually have about 200 applicants, and we accept about 25. So that's the rate there, about 10%. Okay, that's it. I encourage you to explore our website. I encourage you to go get a drink and use the washroom before the breakout rooms start. I hope you've enjoyed our open house so far. You'll now get a chance to meet some of the teachers and staff and students of the school and ask them even more questions. If you have any further questions about anything, about the application process, about anything, email admissions@utschools.ca. That email address is all over the website, and we will be happy to help you.